Dhamma Chonde De Dejen Shimo Chombo Yang Dobo Zobe Sanje Ribo Don Josu Dhamma Dewa Shibo Juden Jam Jubo Deve Kalo Jo Lana Mebo Lado Manon Dhamma Sanje Chonde De Bejawa Jojo Tobo Lo Jangse Jodo Josu Jio Dhamma Sanje Jante De Bejawa Jata Dupa La Jatse Jodo Josu Je Wo Kanze Kanyen Su Jata De Sajen De Na Gomba Dembo Mane Juden De Na Joje Su De Tse Keba Jala Jatse Nando Goma Jodo Zoda Yeshe Janzo Seje Nebo Chabo Jede Suna Lange Wa Gombo Chuni Jala Shanse Senjo Denbo Zhime Da Ye Sho Sendo Zhawa Jala Shanse Dezhe Jinzha Seba Soma Je Nyane Chunje Jala Shanse Guangbo Tuje Jede Mo Dangje Jembe Tembo Sono Yude Jiazo Ye Deje Shena Zhanze Tabe De Cha Zhe Wan Ye Geve Ge Son Le Zhu Jido De Dong Chu Zhe Bo Xin Zhe Zhe Na Zhanze Zhe Nian Zhe Yue Lang Yang De No Bo Do La Shou Du 先给当报应点点，给点那样相思。六八这样么交情，给我别送错过。让给三年要说的，点点三节点报。干嘛让人嘛面当，就嘛是安全报。面了路多知道不？都是就能得到。 色能地月唐气自波也，公公都能全就着地，高当能当七月落出，随便错连着我有。
Thus I have heard. At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Vulture Peak Mountain with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, "How should a son of the lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom?" Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Sharadvati Putra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, In emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight and so on until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion of ignorance and so on up to no old age and death and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path. No wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell on the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata om gate gate paragate parasam gate bodhi soha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the bodhisattva mahasattva noble Avalokiteshvara that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One has said this, the Venerable Sharadvati Putra and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One.
Lam Rinpoche, Dacho Rinpoche, Ma Be Rinpoche, Ten Chenpo Ye Pongpo, Ye Ma Chenwa Ma Le Ma Ko Ma, Me Do Ma Do Bo Ma No Se Ma, Zhe Jiao Ma Nye Ma Do. 仁波切多修炼那波切云讲，色拉多没也变就比索所波马藏我命，铁道真前萨我当结波切，八点那么大波能，切波德阳八点那么大比心安，铁波前比送去什么学员。心康别我结我多见诸业定多切色，一切年将大宋着我马就能，他当娘比世界当今，都在我前边过年心的，老多呀做呀做呀，有一些也没有多。找也只有找也没有一些，牛也得也只也不也得，送也就也只也多，没有也得也没有也我也。多一个呀，多呀，多一些呀，多学呀，多有有色罗呀，多呀，波呀，切呀，喏。就呀就呀就呀我呀咯，就呀就呀就呀就呀的，就呀多呀走一遍，就呀就呀就呀么咯。所以就业就业就业就多，哦呀多呀多呀当古着呢，面对那个呢，老有也没有呀，我的早也那么是不，老给是我变的的就那。高枕千遍过年节送的，过送多节目着这多少，愿做给来些月准备过，讨厌着月人往公月送，忙里歇脚之间随便读，小姐做我的那说我的。多劫前波的些多劫将，就在跌落波当那罗波，别就周边波当阿爹想，娘来新老就那所我的，上波多面一年当着的，昨天的月的当着别别。得到过错的年数年么，要见是别见了所我的，让人越面书记了着道，到我这把这边不着急，上街公交宝宝要是说，上门大约见了所我的。协助东边中阿的上，高等电边面部中端节，连着能就过去送罗送，高等那么能那所我的，刚见新的自己中国梦，我到这边我说节走节。 Dong Dian Bi Do Bo Ke Zhu Ji Yao Zi Ju Bo Jie La So De Jiao Su Gu De La Ma Du Jie Chang Gang La Gong De Xie Ni Zu Zong Ne Qiu Dong Tun Mu Ngu Zhu Zi Zi Bi Zhe Jie La Ma Na La So Wa De Rang Jiao Su Ro Gu La Da Ye Mi Ge Zang Ta Pa Zhi Bi Zhong Zhu Zai Yuan Ji Bi Ta Ge Zi Ba Yi San Zi Xie Ni Na La So Wa De Jie Wa Gun Du Yang Da Na Ma Da Zhi Mi Qu Ji Bi La Ma Xue Ji Sa Da Na Ji Yu De Zhou Zhu Ne Do Ji Jiang Ge Gong Nian Do Yi Xiu San Ji Chu Zuo Ji Qiu Na La Xiao Jiu Bo Du Da Ne Jiu Zong Da Ge Zhi Ji Ji Bi Su Na Ji Zhou La Pin Xie San Ji Zhu Bo Xiu San Ji Jiu Dan Zuo Ji Jiu Na La Xiao Jiu Bo Du Da Ne Jiu Zong Da Ge Zhi Ji Ji Bi Su Na Ji Zhou La Pin Xie San Ji Zhu Bo Xiu San Ji Jiu Dan Zuo Ji Jiu Na La Xiao Jiu Bo Du Da Ne Jiu Zong Da Ge Zhi Ji Ji Bi Su Na Ji Zhou La Pin Xie San Ji Zhu Bo Xiu哎，那娘们是。
Rinpoche. Rinpoche.
Oh, to check.
No, Rinpoche. I select it. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's really.
Well, the button does. Tata. I want to say that. Yeah, I'm going to Chachen again the Chirea. I'm going to again. Church as a day. Chitumbasonachi, the Tanya Majaja, Rangi Dujan number, the Milan, number 2 number, Shenji Dujan number, Song Zimbi number, and the Duji line in already belong to Gonding. And Rangi Taco, Rangi Town, Rangi, and it Randa Javi, and the Treasure Promotes, Sajet Tanchi, and the one that you don't remember there was a teacher. Someone I get you, Kanga Zadino, the Hayabisonichi, churches almost Yabisonichi. 대양지 천디 도고 당수 된다 많이 봐. 네. 저 새로 된지 네 demand로 이 된다는 맞아 감각이. 이제 타지도 되지 저기 다 상황에 상관없는 좋아요 비토네. 이미 봤지?
So let's begin with visualizing Buddha Shakyamuni, surrounded by all those great beings of the gurus of Lam Rim lineage, and imagining yourself being there in their presence, and you are surrounded by all other sentient beings. So think about, just as I myself, who do not wish to undergo sufferings and who always wish to overcome sufferings and achieve happiness. So too, all other sentient beings have a similar wish to achieve happiness and overcome sufferings. So therefore, imagine that all sentient beings are present and participating in these teachings, receiving the teachings of the great deities on the stages of the path to enlightenment. And then think about that. My very purpose of receiving this teaching is just not for my name or fame, just to gain intellectual, information or information or to develop my intellect, but rather the very purpose of receiving this teaching is to attain high rebirth from this life to next life, and eventually to gain state of complete enlightenment. So with this motivations, let's take 2 minutes to meditate.
I thought the education. That the you cannot chiva chin and constant by say you chin. Shanjo launcher in bars, and don't want to net such a mason with a duty. Shanjo launcher in bars, and I'm doing it.
With these motivations, the teachings that we are receiving today is the great deities on the stages of the path to enlightenment, which encapsulates the essence, the meaning of meaning of all the Buddha sutras and tantra.
在啥这些点起了过，去公正把对面现在把别教啊，当然了，给把这边是去教啊，教完你到那边去了，你现在到想，当不我就那么就在这一人吧，是呢，同嘛，你就这么去老人情况，你点了陪我的，在啥这些个，陪我的去让他当下去。
As usual, let's read through the four major outlines, which is very important outlines written by the great Lama Tsongkhapa. So here we begin with reading these outlines, beginning with the first outline, which is the greatness of the authors given in order to show the teachings has noble source, and showing the greatness of the teachings in order to engender respect for the teachings, and how to listen to the teachings in which both teachings and its author are great, and the sequence in which the disciples are to be taught the actual instruction.
他就从我给娘生连把来，你让就早一些年点比去当，点的逻辑大家有人把你是的，他从可能那么最说那点的。
This will then be, followed by another two important sub-outlines are how to rely on the teacher, which is the root of one's spiritual path, how the students train their mind after having relied on the spiritual master.
点的逻辑大家有人把来，你第一点了，你不能必须给我当，你不接单人必须你去。到东北这，当你不接单人必须了，你老接老接了，你不接着的，你不能请我去。到东北这，当你不能请我了，送就不出门到天门老接人把娘生人去，就不知道天门老接人把娘生人去，就不清别老接人把娘生人去去。到东北你这。他就被前边浪人嘛，娘生人做了送，提前人就别搞，甚至可能的嘛，甚至就在这边走，甚至呢学把老路走去，他多么年纪长，甚至呢，送把了送，甚至呢，老把了路边这样，我把这把路边上街门就把点，老把路边人把你写把去，他多么了嘛，他多么年纪长，他送把了你。贴吧全部就老知道，七八多就贴吧老去去，他多么这，东北了送，乡镇就老把老队长，让人家是的那么说呢就到那边出去，他东北人就走，他说呢就到这那边去了呢，刚老边去，带老板那就是带老边，带了就到老边人把去，带了就到老边人把你。学把就老了这当，学把他发现他妈年了，出去，他多么的，他发现他妈年了就那就现在他老多偏些吧，等你就根据这些点吧，现在他老多等你个刚个别精彩，精彩个人也把宿舍老出去，他多么一些等级，他宿舍老去了你，现在老去他当老出去，他多么了送，现在老个现在就做点吧，第二点呢现在刚别现在就别菜是。你对起，他们是啥阶段来呢？老人情我也发现他们也老去，对孬呢，你现在老去，你现在了呢，现在让进来这边肯定看这个了，现在让进来这个人，你进来你让了看这老古的，是我对的。
So currently we're on the last two perfections, the sections of the last two perfections. And out of two perfections, we're on the concentrations. And we're discussing on how do we actually achieve this serenity, how do we attain serenity? And having attained serenity, how do we actually engage in the actual practice or the spiritual path?
Takasi Mato Sachi Chana, Shene Drusi de la Shana Kangi and Chipachina Yomari, Shene Drusi de Sene Mipachi and Dramare Mato, Sene Gui Rimbala, Shene Drusi de Shana Kangi and Nindoha Kangi Chana Timo, yes, Shene Drusi.
So the manner in which we practice this serenity or shamatha, there is no difference between sutra and tantra, and also no difference, between Buddhist and non-Buddhist practitioners, particularly the Tirthikas.
다 라톤 개체시 소에나 라톤 루치 지바인 바칸샤라 근데 라톤들라 남바 코노게 노고 베나 샤나 개시샤나 아니 샤라나제게 라톤 나 데비나제 라톤 니제 아니 니여레스 아니 아 남바기 개체시 소나 라톤들라 예미비게 따와 차라 있잖아 네 주다 방와시 제바여레스 마도양 라톤 토마체시다 로치데야나 남바 코노존에 지바인 바데 네 자와 샴바다 아니 좀 뭐지 지소레서 가세데 많이 찾아.
So then when it comes to the special insight, the way of the manner of the mode of actually accomplishing the special insight, again there is no difference among the Buddhist schools of thoughts, as mentioned by the Maitreya, Asanga, and so forth. There's no differences. However, when it comes to the actual observation of the object of the special insight, or the object of the view of the special insight, then there are big differences among the philosophers of the schools of thoughts.
당연히 가서 내 있어서 그때 예산에 시바 될라 대화다 세와 운도 추장 너도 봐 사모 매베 신의 장이라 그지 대아이
예,
그지 대 장이라 너도 봐 유야나네 동반이 이제 땡엔 진도 저러냐나 너도 봐 사모 시비 사모 대강 소소도베 시럽제 따위보다 제네 대네 대이된데 뭐도바 잡아라 셰당 강도양 뭐도바 쇼바 잡아잖아 시 동보다나 시 네 내가 짓도
Now let's read through this the text of the Lam Rim text itself. Well, on page 88, the first paragraph starting from the calm. Although the bliss and clarity are present in the concentrations, which is explained in Sharvaka levels, it is mere serenity, since there is no profound non-discursiveness awareness. But if non-discursive awareness is present, it becomes concentration on emptiness. Reply: by concentration on emptiness, are you referring to investigating the meaning of profound in the phrase profound non-discursive awareness, by using your discriminating wisdom to establish this definitively in theory, and then focus on this without discursiveness.
대시 다 동봉가 속에 대치 시버도 단데 신의 걸은 가서 대시 못도바 생에 타니 뭐고 지으로 된적이 대시 못도바 생에 대하니 돈이 또 따와 하나치 계시 시버레베 아니 지야 일을 셰베 냐바 샤바상의 시그레 생 되니 좋아들.
So here now the question it actually is it talks about non-discursiveness awareness. So what is meant by non-discursive awareness? Here the question, it is the calm, it says, in a calm way, it asks the questions. is this non-discursive awareness is equal to the concentration on emptiness, or is it or the non-discursive awareness and focusing on nothingness? Are they, if one is able to have this concentration, is it concentration equals to the concentration on emptiness? This is the actually it's a calm.
다 저알려도 사모 생이 사모데 가를 지고서나 동보대 돈유도 비 사모레 심마데 제한 일라면시 사모데 다 동보다 나와서 된저 이 동바니 지 땡엔진도 코장되도 치 대단되나네 인루지 따이 고와요 바탕 매번이 소소셔와라 따와 예비 강사 따도데 자네 또바 좀와 나네 사모 동바니 지 땡엔진 강바 이노지 따이 고와 매비 강사게 지면 또바 강바 나지네 나지 강네지 사모 동바니 강바 마이노시 소소시네 로바 리지 지면 셈바 강세 탕지 미메다 세메다 동바니라 상대오 시마오 메자오 어세티들이 넘버시
Or are you referring simply to settling in a non-discursive awareness and not analyzing anything? So now here the answer is, in the first case, I also assert such a practice to be concentration on emptiness. If you assert, likewise, there is a distinction between those who have and those who do not have an understanding of the view of the way things are. Those individuals who have the views, who have view and sustain a non-discursive awareness upon settling in this view are practicing the profound concentration on emptiness. The meditation of those who lack understanding of this view and meditate on it, on not thinking about anything, is not profound meditation emptiness. It is valid to claim this claim these distinctions. Do not declare that all types of meditation in which you do not think about anything are meditative stabilization on the objectless or on the on the signless or on emptiness.
Pena susujo chana seri she kanda chi na rangshi chi chuba me ba tumba ni ji toni chi to ne deni la lo deni la sana chawa de ni lo chi la me to bi lo se la gari ma to ji yi la me she bi ha shang ki tawan ro go chi la ni sana ka se le so na yang ke toni gang se ga ma le se de.
So by focusing on one particular object and ascertaining that object, the observed object, its lack of intrinsic identity or intrinsic existence, and being able to focus on that intrinsicness, lack of intrinsicness, is said to be the non-discursiveness, awareness, non-discursive awareness on the view of emptiness. However, just mere, focusing on nothingness is not something, not a concentration or the non-discursive awareness on the view of emptiness.
Kete tomba ni kundu chibi tawa yue dan me jan hai sen jian me do jin sen jian me do jian me xue ba me xue ba nju bi gang tamare nju bi re gang tang ji tomba ni ji dingen ji de de na ne ma xi bi ni de ji san de song bi xin ne ji shu ji dingen jin de na ji me de jin de tomba ni ji dingen de kelang go de da jang dingen zin la jabi tsena jemba da shije tu chundu sona shara sheba soji kaung gashi mato de yin de mino shi chunze zayang mi mato ba chungwa yinbi shero de na shine drubi tingin zin na tingin zin na ba to ba mi bi zunye la mi banda wa gongzhe le song so wa su nye sa le jang so de.
Regardless of whether or not you have the view that comprehends emptiness, all meditation in which your mind is focused on not thinking upon anything and on not analyzing anything as concentration and emptiness. Reply. In that case, you would be forced to assert that even the concentrations along the way to meditative serenity mentioned previously in the passage from Asanga Sharvaka levels are concentration on emptiness. For in those two, when settled in concentration, apart from a few occasions of monitoring and so on, when the strength of mindfulness and vigilance has decreased, you sustain the meditation without the slightest discursive thoughts of this is this or this is not this. Therefore, the sutra unraveling the intended meaning says that the concentration for the achieving serenity attend to an image that is without discursive thoughts. Furthermore, within the context of serenity and insight, Asanga Sharvaka levels refers to the serenity in this way.
되지. 되게 내 저도 내 저단데 차고 단다 가르치 거에서나 신의 감비 찰라 냠바자는 되는 마도 제파슈 지금 말은 뭐체 조가 제비 거라 뭐체와데 군대도 소비 신의 그 중에라 소미질 냠바자바 소여레 철학이 되었다 손에 제 예매시베 탄치라 또만이 감바 세베나 신의 감바 탄치 또만이 감비 네 타도 그래서네 줘들.
So when one is in the on the meditation, or when one is meditating on serenity, one is not going through any analysis. It is just single-pointed meditation. So, again, there's a calm. If one asserts that everything that you are just mere focusing on nothingness alone is asserted as a meditation emptiness, then all the meditation on serenity should be accepted or asserted as a view meditation on emptiness.
거기 된다 가르쳐 제 일하면 시베 감바데 동반이 감바 많이 바기 되시 당고 된다 돼.
So here now the reason what we are refuting here is we're refuting that mere focusing on nothingness is not a meditation on emptiness. That is what we are refuting.
되지. 가르쳐는 난 하면은 다 자나 하상기 따와서 되던 제네 별론데 따와도 쉬좀 쉬지 저거라. 저는 뭐지 치든이네 쉬지 가야를 송도 나는 좀 더서래도.
So because this view of focusing on nothingness is something that is asserted as the meditation emptiness is very pervasively. It was so pervasive once it becomes so pervasive in Tibet, and so it is for this purpose Lama Tsongkhapa has refuted again and again in many different deities, and proving that just mere focusing on nothingness is not a meditation on emptiness.
Number tower machine, number jeba machine, road number jeba, meshi, Yonsu toba meshi, Yonsu shoba mesheba, yino, she, Shela Nijanani, Shenela, Tetashi be shetan, Yang Tenile, Teta Shene just sent Toba down, get it, Jing down, Magombi, Nebat, Nebe, Samata number toba nye. Nyomoba tagen, Tawan juru, Gotemban juru, Mibashe banjuna, Den Yongo la, Data de Nimis Tawan, Denija on the Shede, Jemba meba da Yila Sheba meba Shede, Data Jemba meba da Yila Sheba, Yila Sheba mebe, Mipa Denang, number Shijin, number Sena. Meba Nila Niwa Jaba Joro, Xie Song Den, Den Xene Zangxi Zhubi Gaosu Song La, Xene Zhubi Gaosu Ne, Xene Zhongwa Mebe, Zhubi Gangni de Zhong Ce Den Nang Ne Song Be, Jiang Me Doba Gang, Tangji Dongba Ni Gangbi, Nyang Ne Dun Doba Ne, Kebi Shege Ne Yinji, Ne Yin La, Cheba Do, Zhenba Meji Yila Xia Mebe Gang, to somba kan tangje toni gamban deba ni si long de leba ka ba yino yen ya goni tombo le sondo.
At that time, this concentration attends to image without discursive thoughts, and it exclusively focuses mindfulness one-pointedly upon the object. It does not examine it, nor clarify it, nor investigate it, nor ponder it, nor analyze it. And the same text states, when you achieve the mind of serenity in this way, signs, thoughts, or secondary reflections may appear, manifest, or become the object. Because of forgetfulness or the faults of lack of habituation, do not fall immediately under the influence of the faults that you have previously observed. Neither recall them nor pay attention to them. In this way, because you are neither being mindful of this object nor attending to it, it dissolves, and when it is dispelled, you will settle in the absence of the appearance of this obstructions. This is stated in the passage concerning the practice of meditative serenity alone. In passage concerning the practice of serenity, the authoritative treatise speaks only to meditation that is focused without analytical activity. So to knowledgeable people, the concentration that all meditation without discursive thought at all constitutes the practice of meditation on emptiness is laughable. In particular, this citation from Asanga Shavakala will also perfectly result that assertion that all reference to the meditation with no mindfulness or attention is meditation on emptiness. Furthermore, Kamala Shila's first stages of meditation says,
되게 단다티 간데 신의 주세대 신의 주비가라 가서 뭐치와들 조강라는 마도 시간 요사코로 말아왔어. 아니 신의 이강바 탄제 아니 저랑이 선나 돈이 강바로 되잖아. 케바스 게모쇼에 내려왔어. 저랑이 신의 강바 강가 돈이 강바를 선나다 케바스 게모쇼에서.
So here again it says, because when one is meditating on serenity, there's no involvement of analyzation or the investigation. It is mere single-pointed concentration. If one is asserted that every single pointed concentrations and focusing on nothingness are all, meditation emptiness, and this, then it says, it actually says, the knowledgeable people, the constitution that all meditation without any discursive thoughts at all constitutes the practice of meditation on emptiness is laughable.
J'ai gagné ton bolet, tu t'as tenté tu vas. Chez je mon ni ne cinq这个上的是比小了，但呢现在当就前年喏写当，那么的写吧当，写名啊来讲，他说他有3点1了。明年一直就不帮了，现在刚把下的写上，一直就不年的我写那么多吧我，这样他工作真的，现在这几把年了写吧了，说吧，多大，现在这边用毛都长呢，现在这样没多吧，连毛都写成多，但那多年刚比没多吧。没多把写当，东把你军事长没多比，没多把你月呗，但是没多把军事堂去，东把你就刚都说没下我送的。
The Kamalachila's first stages of meditation says, the nature of serenity is nothing more than a one-pointed mind. This is the general characteristic of all meditative serenity. Ratnakarasanti's instructions for the perfection of wisdom also states, focusing on the mind which is perceiving various things, reject mental composition and cultivate serenity. Mental composition is discursive thoughts. This is this. Moreover, after earlier citing numerous sutras and treatises by the great travelers, including the discussions in the Cloud of Jewel sutras. So, concerning serenity as mental one-pointedness, I've already explained numerous times that serenity entails no discursive thoughts whatsoever.
这个我说这个我这几结果多，没多吧现在看你结果了，没多吧生的，你东把你就东没多比没多吧接到这一类么些比没多吧你也是，你没多吧汤接，你东把你刚把的那的还想抬个也是，没下我说这对的。
So there are two discursive, non-discursive thoughts. In other words, there are two non-discursive thoughts. One is non-discursive thought which ascertain emptiness, and one is a non-discursive thought which do not ascertain emptiness.
这当然就学长些点吧的，来半边呢，来半边呢是想把它后面了说别这位现在的拉动的主路先把下的，但到马上呢，现在是样马来比没多半就比，今年人家是了，是比早晚就比拉动的吹呢，但了明面的龙呢，对能大约。让进路啊，你得没着我，说的开出车店那去，没老想的是，开出车店那去用呢，现在啥的主办呢，就讲没多办，就把宽那当，他当当不主办呢，说都比写了就说现在写的，刚把送吧，那完了去，都把汤去点菜的时候呢，这汤去多的，用车店那来把广多呢。다음에 뵙다와 많이 장这样没多吧拉通上面对啊刚把写吧呢자나게 하 켐보 하샹게 루 이제는 만데 봐 권한한데 공린 송시도 되시당 시반조로 송되듯이
You need it. The Luzon did it over there, very good.
Oh, Joro, Jen, Nipa, and Shenela, then a laundry system, say the little.
Also. So therefore, there is a non-discursive awareness, that meditation and emptiness as well. There's non-discursive awareness that lacks even the slightest concentration of emptiness. So do not regard every occurrence of bliss, clarity, and non-discursive awareness as meditation emptiness. This comment disclose only a portion of this subject. So strive diligently, and understand the ways of accomplishing serenity and insight as elucidated by Maitreya, Asanga, and so on. If you fail to do so, you will mistake certain concentration that are focused on non-discursively, but without even reaching the serenity for the insight, which cuts the root of cyclic existence. And after you have arrogantly held this to be awareness without a true existent object, as time goes by, you will suddenly deceive yourself and others. The treatise of the authoritative scholars and the adepts assert that when you newly practice serenity, you exclusively focus your attention non-discursively in stabilizing meditation. And when you first practice insight, you meditate by means of analysis with discerning wisdom. Once you hold that all thoughts consist of grasping to true existence and discard it altogether, your understanding is turned directly away from the authoritative treatise, and you do not reach an errorless view of separateness. Nevertheless, the notion that the absence of thought constitutes meditation on the profound object of insight is simply the unadulterated system of the Chinese master Ashang. Take a careful look at the Kamalashila's 3 stages of meditation, and you will understand.
This is the Hale, Gone, Dana short transit as a Capanala, and the does short transit by Maso Japade, Senedruzene, the Josh Ambition on Papa Tommy, Jun to Salatani, Shiba, Jesu was on Lajanandoa.
So this advice was given by Lama Tsongkhapa to all the practitioners to engage in practice. If one have a sincere motivations of engaging in practice of Shine or the serenity, and one should look at the treatise of Maitreya and Asangas, where you can find a very clear elucidation how one can practice step by step in those treatises.
Machine and career says on the Tajino, Jay, Meshebede, Dame Tobare, and you take a sip at Sawachi over Tabata Taji Chamber Turgis and Lawaina, Rajiniga Pung with Tusakama Tolaro, Munajana Rod. Danzig, Sawajin, Major, Jay, Mesheba Sanji, and Doni Togore, Tabata Taji Chamber Turgis and so get Tusaka on the Tusa Tolare, and Jendala Dene Pongere, Rana Dene Pung, Rajiniga Logos Soba.
So if we were to assert just mere concentration on nothingness is asserted as a meditation and emptiness, and believing this is a practice that actually ascertains selflessness, and cut the root of cyclic existence, and become a cause for gaining liberation and complete state of enlightenment. With this kind of view, is not only that that deceives oneself, but also by spreading these views to others, we also, and we also causes, we also deceives other beings as well. So we have to be very careful with that.
Jana Hasha is John the Nis Mepaji Chado do any to sit never there any gore, Tombo Niba Somba Gores on the sheet Tash also Tamadere.
So as the Hashem mentioned, that all those conceptions or conceptual thoughts are said to be the abandonment, which need to be abandoned. Whether that conceptual thoughts are, be it as a valid conceptual thoughts or the non-valid conceptual thoughts, they are all said to be, or need to be abandoned, which is, in other words, is object of abandonment. So if we assert this, and this actually contradicts, all those authoritative texts written by the great Indian masters, such as, Maitreya, Asanga, and so forth. So therefore, in order to have a confidence in studying this and practicing serenity, and here Lama Tsongkhapa has advised that one should carefully look at those treatises written by the great masters such as Kamalashilas, the stages of the meditation, such as the first stages of the meditation, second stage of meditation, and third stages of the meditation. Take a 10 minutes break here.
So Nanga Chemo the receipt, Nimbo the revenue Tauda, and the Satajo and Chena Tijin, the new in a pair wash.
When we're reading through the texts, and there are very important passages, so one should highlight all those important passages, and when you have time, then you can read again and reflect on that. It's very, very helpful.
Tijunga Toge, the Lamadre, Sunjindwa, Nijeromochi, and Richemon, Shinedru, the Java Shuji Sonaris, and taking about the Pyongaropa Senare, Pig Tower, the Shuji, Kaya, Sunday, Tamasu Tennis Game, Tanamalo in the Lay, and then Dinamaredwa.
So normally the great teachers would always say that Lama Tsongkhapa has given a very extensive teachings on serenity in the great teachings on the stages of the path, the enlightenment. It is really true, because we have not paid close attention to it. Because when we pay a close attention to it, and we can read through a great, if you read a detail about the serenity, it is really a detailed explanation that we find in this great teachings on the stage of the path to enlightenment. And also there are many refutations. Lama Tsongkhapa actually refutes the earlier, scholars of Tibet as well.
라버드 맞지 소소기 공식이 on the door 선도 지지는도 그때나 가능한 영역의 자신 세대를 시제 장에 가임을거라 아니 콘도사데다 나래적이 변조에 받아 세버스 장에만도 소소하게 지마에 라멘들 소도 많이 되면서 되는도.
So if you really look at Lama Tsongkhapa's texts normally, his words and his treatises are always based on the great treatises of Nalinda, written by the great masters of the Nalinda. He never says that this is what I know, this is what I gain, this is what my teacher said, this is my master said, and so on and so forth. But rather, his teachings are always rooted in the great treatises of the Nalinda.
라버드 까말라실라기 때문에 고래 바가선데 상한데 단다 맞죠 배농로랑 하루비기 따와도 슈칭과 답이 거 드리지라 아니 고래 바다선데 배랑라 나신조로 정으로 소도아 너무 까말라실라기 고래 바가 너무 손바선데 아니 상조랑조 저마 배랑라 손샤조로 같은 대화 친구슈 차고 예제로 왔다 다시 얘기 가네.
So here are the stages of the meditation by Kamalachilas. That's written, those treatises are written by Kamalachilas in Tibet. At that time, the view of Hashang is so pervasive, and it was so fortunate to be able to have such a great master, come to Tibet and write all those treatises. And then also we have the Lamp or Path to Enlightenment Lama by Atishas are also written by the great Atisha at the time of pervasively flourished time of Ashang's view in Tibet at that time.
Tani ba shenela tene lang jusi cheten ba sengde tama su shenel ngasu shenel gangwa de karechane shenel gangwa re shiroba tu kar gangwa nambe kar karechane gangwa re senenge de chi mi de chi mena kaletne jogu maro sunina ta tise shiroba inere namba inere teni chembu chi gi tono la shenel jusi to ta gasre mo do lo chimo tangu do de karechane re jego re senela wa ina ani ta langa chi no rogo ro ta ta chi tyango ro.
So that's we read here a general presentation on the way to proceed along the path on the basis of meditative serenity. So now, why we should have objective or have some valid reasoning why we are practicing meditative serenity. The meditative serenity is common to both Buddhists and non-Buddhists. It is practiced by both Buddhist and non-Buddhist practitioners. So both of them have a certain objective, right? What is the actual purpose of engaging in those practice of meditative serenity? Because it's not easy at all. It requires a lot of time and effort, really, to perfect these practices. So we should have actual reason for practicing this meditative serenity.
Niba shenela tene lang drubi tsuje tenba ne sa teta nga shibi me tobi tingyen zen yila shiba toba de sewa tang me toba la subi chiba jenje me toba de zangshi changba sha shena tenda yi tingyen zen jila chiba ne nyomo ban jobi latong chibi shi yinbe de la tene latong ma che na tingyen zen de zangshi gomba she chang depuis quand nous n'avons pas mené na nous batons pas tachu me jajugo deishira la don gamba shago so.
Questions. Should we simply sustain and non-discursive awareness characterized by clarity, non-discursiveness, etc. By attaining non-discursive concentration as explained previously. Reply: producing such concentration in your mind stream is for the purpose of generating insight that overcomes afflictions. Hence, if you do not generate insight on the basis of this concentration, you will unable to eliminate even the afflictions of the desires, no matter how much you grow accustomed to that concentrations. In that case, that what need is there, even to mention eliminating all afflictions, therefore cultivate insight.
Tela Kodewa Shison Dere, Bena Shinegambe Nambain and Shirubain, Shirubain, Shinegamba, the Karicheta Sana, Ta Shira Naji, Lato Naji, Chibiche the Senare, Duende Chisachi. Then the Nambaina, the Dame to Belhaton Senare, Numopo Biche, the Lato Gile Chibitana, and Shinedu was, and that is it.
So, our main purpose of engaging in practice of serenity is to gain insight into special insight. So, by gaining special insight is to eliminate insight is to eliminating all those mental afflictions. So, therefore, our very purpose of engaging in practice of meditative serenity, it's just not just being, a very serene state, but rather it is the purpose of engaging in such practice is to gain insight into emptiness.
CGB Chanel, Chetan Combachetan, and in Dubi Numotan, the Pominiana, Numotaja, the Pankawa Negore, T. Sheta, and the Lato Gango. Yes.
So it says just by meditating on, just by practicing serenity and gaining, a realization of just serenity, cannot even eliminate even the afflictions on the desires, let alone eliminating all afflictions.
Numo Munji Pombi, Jetembi Langi Drupi, Laton Down, Numoja Sabe, Zawani Pombi, Jetelen Debi, Langi Drupi, Laton Nile, Nile Shimbi Lang to Jeta Mede, Nesale, Deta Yila Shiva Topi, Nenjo Ba, Pombi, Kawachunga Shuba, Dei Konto Joba Shawane, Jen Mede, Nikona Sedo, Nikanshena. Jitembi tang jitelen depi jitelen depi depa was depi o she son so do but nge de tinsa nyu da nge ma lo ya tanda de mo chi zo de yang ni de she de la so nyu
That's what. So furthermore, there are two kinds of insight: the insight proceeding by the mundane path, which eliminates manifest afflictions, and the insight proceeding by the supermundane path, which eradicates the seeds of afflictions. There is no means of producing on the higher path other than this two. Asanga's Sharvaka level states, thus the yogi who has achieved attention has entered the small, delight elimination of afflictions, has two ways to progress and no others. What are these two? They are mundane and supermundane. Also.
Parliament being Lang, the Jitin belongs a lot. Many Parliament belong the Jitin belongs and a lot. 디중아 소 용자체는 저 지대는 지대는 대비기 센세 제사의 판라토마도 문제 제거로 하지라다.
So normally the distinction between the mundane path and super mundane path is made on the basis of whether or not the individual has achieved the path of Arya. Someone who hasn't achieved the path of Arya is said to be the path of it's the mundane path, and someone who achieved Arya path is said to be the super mundane path.
Nimo ngonju pomba danyo sawa pomba sesona ta tendriki nimo ngonju pomba dan sawa da cheba pomba tela ni jitembe lang de jitembe debe lang ni le jembe lang chi yo mare sa ta chi.
There's no other paths that can eliminate, the manifest afflictions and the root of afflictions. The two parts, the mundane parts and super mundane parts. The mundane parts eliminates the manifest, level of afflictions, and the super mundane path eliminates the root of afflictions.
Deje zado le nimo ngaso nimo pomba sesona nimo pomba senge tele inchi meji ko nyebo yenge bi cheba yo mare kana shiroba de so jilan de bi nimo ngonje de yom mutu gi ponto yege ani kosu ge shara na je lan la tene nimo de bi nimo ngonje ponse la gore da ko ngoje de nyam nya ke chere ma de nyebo tene pombi ke chamare maso ponse be tanye che di chindo.
So here now the elimination of afflictions, and does not necessarily referring to the elimination that eliminated by means of applying direct antidotes towards the afflictions. For instance, even the non-Buddhist practitioners who, by achieving this deep meditative serenity, can overcome the by depending upon the mundane path that can eliminates the manifest level of afflictions. But this elimination of manifest level of afflictions is not something that has been eliminated by means of applying antidotes towards that. It's just by maturation of their meditation on serenity, automatically eliminates their manifest level of afflictions.
Nimo ngonjo pomba la neko pomba la namba yinga mare des. Eni sante yingo jese na zume ngoji jilo yepi neko la ponse kreta yang nyebo tembe tona ponse tanye che maro.
So those manifest levels are eliminated when they achieved the actual meditative serenity, actual meditative equipoise on the first meditative concentration and the second meditative concentrations and the peak of meditation concentrations. However, those manifest levels are not. It is not to say that they have eliminated by means of application of antidotes.
接送所及，这到现在上一些头发的，一点别浪就拉通硬，一点人特别浪就这边拉通刚刚样，这当对吧的，他特别现在的了，连忙都刚把写了，这到刚把呢新的讲不当，现在几把的新的偏心现在这样新的点吧，就说这样。 写了给咱们弄了样，开把写了，对我的人你刚要容易，做对吧？对了，怎么写的？你啥嘞？对了，来东北研究吧，一了写吧，当结吧的呢，到几点吧？我几点嘞？这边让这边做小文章呢，一了写吧，的你了，连忙都写到。 接到联盟的些吧，接到年轻接到人对吧？那边对新的人不能生这几把的你，偏心结吧养着了，刚给才得一了些吧，一了些吧，当心点吧，少啊当没把用是 다발라 매번 주번 저와 당 세네당 하통게 쇼지 참만 나제 요소 sembanjowa 디 세나 된 제텔 제텔비 람 제텔 데비 람 강게 조안데 바텔라 조와 좀바 셰도 셰송소 손도 다데 냥네 제치리제
Therefore, one who has achieved meditative serenity or attention by cultivate either by insight of the mundane path or insight that proceed by the super mundane path. Whichever you wish to cultivate, you must frequently cultivate the serenity achieved previously. And when you practice in this way, pliancy and mental one-pointedness greatly increase, and serenity also become much more stable. Moreover, you become knowledgeable about the science of serenity and insight, and thereafter you strive at whichever of the two paths you want, the Shavaka levels. In regard to this, the novice yogi who are endowed with attention reflect, I shall proceed by either the mundane or the super mundane path, and they frequently apply themselves to this attention, commensurate with how much they pass the days and night in frequent practice. Their pliancy and mental one-pointedness increase, and the point practice. Their pliancy and increase and explain and are ported. When their attention becomes firm, stable, and solid, when it engages pure object at will, and when it is imbued with the sign associated with the serenity and insight, at that time they strive at their practice along the mundane path, or the super mundane path, which they wish to follow. Mundane insight consists of meditation bearing the aspect of the calmness and closeness, in which we observe the closeness of lower levels and the calmness of the higher levels. Super mundane insight, as stated in the Shavaka's level, consists of mundane, which observe the 16 aspect of the four note. I overread the native mantras, which is the
Tero, Tanga's laundry to Chitemasi, Benasenato to be Kansa Chigi, Jitembe Bena, Shiroba Shirana, Jalala, and Lata Chego in Ada, Nidami to his Lata Chigi and I, Muji Shabiton, any Kumba Kasiki Temba Sanje, any Shenayana, Den and Dogure, any Miba in a Ser and Dogure, any Yasan Kumba, any Shalason, Najan Gile, Total Begoro, Tigim Bencheta, Kansa Nyansa Lembo Kansaki, Gilon de Tibeton and Yanselin City, and that is only.
So this is the way the way of practicing. So it's when the attention becomes firm, stable, and solid, when it engages pure object at will, and when it is imbued with the signs associated with the serenity and insight, at that time they strive at their practice along the mundane paths or super mundane path, whichever they do so. So the more you practice, it's already been mentioned earlier that I should proceed by either mundane paths or super mundane, and they frequently apply themselves to this attention, commensurate with how much you pass the days and night in frequent practice. This pliancy and mental one-pointedness increase.
Tangazo de Jitem Debilan, the Jitem Bilan Sike Bata, tell a Jitem Bilaton ne, so the Tangas Jitem Bilaton, and Jedan Shurubi Kessida. So Mala Rapatang Kumala Shiva Tavi Shira number change long number change Gamo. Jitelen Debil Ha Jitelen Debil Hatong Nye Sani Somba Ne Demba Jila Mere Demba Jila Metabala Soba Chudugi number change Tai Gante. So ne Kazaki Dame Tobi Tawa was Kase George then dig in negative. Tadanga su Shanagi, Matoba to the Login Nangasin. So Kazaki Dame, Toba, or Tobita was in Atiba Chinorajan.
So let's read again. Mundane insight consists of meditation bearing the aspect of calmness and coarseness, in which you observe the coarseness of the lower levels and the calmness of the higher levels. Supermundane insight, as stated in the Shavaka levels, consists of meditation which observes the aspect of the Four Noble Truths, including impermanence and so on. Principally, you cultivate the view which is the knowledge of the selflessness of person.
Dame to Mato, Dame Senare, Dejimatala, Toba, Jitel Deba, and Shirana Jilan, Jitembi Towers for the Chi, Cordova, Chi, Sonda, Tatechaman, Tenganima Kadilita. The Shiraki number Chesana Deri, Masupena, Shiroba to Sige, Shirat number change along La Tane, was Kwa de Tama, Sibitemo. Neda Sita Tama de la City Pattern Dogeng in the Shirobay. The Sigi Karinimi Towers and the Pen and Debi, Matsuki Debi and Detan and Diamond and Debi and Detan and Tele Chapion Gilagachi de Doroa. Ta Con Debal and Yimita Conkomala Shiwatang, Nin Debi and they also Zobal and Yimita and Conkomala Shiwatane and the local companion and Shirana Jelans at the rich Shirana Jelans.
What is meant by the insight consists of meditation bringing the aspect of the calmness and coarseness. The calmness and coarseness here referring to the practitioners who actually engage in the practice of detachment with regard to the objects of, it's particularly the 5 desire objects, which belongs to the desire realms, and then finding a quality, strive to attain the qualities of the higher realms, which is the calmness referring to the high realms, and the coarseness referring to the qualities of the desire realms. By means of such meditations and perfecting such meditations, the practitioners, particularly the non-Buddhist practitioners, can attain all the way to the peak of existence. So for the Buddhist practitioners, one need to observe 16 aspects of the Four Noble Truths, such as impermanence and so on. And one need to cultivate the view which understands the selflessness of the person. It's a key factor. In particular that one need to engage in the practice of ascertainment of selflessness of a person, which is the root of cyclic existence, which need to be cut by means of such practice.
Mendola, J. Tembi, Lange, Jubi, Kansa, Chinda Yuba, Ne, Yasale, Della Kanda, Sendelan, J. Tembi, Lang, Kona, Joban, Jishi, Jitelen, Debi, Lange, Maibi, Kansa, Tuye Jenas, Pamba, Jete, Sondo, Letate, Della Shuruba Tanje Tang, Chuen Deba Yijang, Moshine, Shuba, Ombo Tuba, Deja the Ombo Noyan, Gayazawa Yos, Mameba, Shanchu Samba Shemala, Shanchu Toban Duji, Sedela Maimba, De, Shesumba, Taro, No Shesumba Taro, also Alete.
What kind of person achieved the attention of serenity explains previously and does not proceed by the supermental path in that lifetime, but proceeds by the mundane path? Reply: the Sharvaka level states. What persons proceed in this life solely by the mundane path and not by the supermundane path? There are the following 4 types of persons: all those who are not Buddhists, and those who adhere to Buddhist and teachings, but while they have practiced serenity while opted for the dull faculties. Similarly, those who are sharp faculties, but those root of virtue have not matured, and bodhisattvas who wish to achieve enlightenment in the future, but not in this life. So it identifies the 4 types of persons here. What persons proceed the life solely by the mundane path and not by the supermundane path? And there are the following 4 types that we have read earlier.
Tela Shurubata Karichanan Dotu Marisana, Tela Shurubi Nenjoba, Hashibi Shenet Topa Tanjene, Kanzagi Damela, Soso to be Shirochi, Shene Jonga Mede, Deda Damebala, Mumubi Shiros, Yana, Shene Matoba Tetsanshi, Jongla. Yana Shara number change Lato Gamba San Shepanji Dembi Long Conan Ro so to take it on Botere. Me co Jitan and Debi Landrum to be Jete.
So now he says, in that regard, all non-Buddhist yogis who have achieved meditative serenity explained earlier do not use discerning wisdom to sustain and analysis of the selflessness of a person, for they are not drawn to selflessness. Therefore, they either sustain non-discursive meditative serenity alone, or they cultivate just insight, bearing the aspect of calmness and process. In this way, they proceed solely by the mundane path. In order to proceed by path preceded by the supermundane, then one need to understand not only just one accept selflessness, but one need to ascertain, one need to gain its attainment of selflessness.
The Thomas of the number should develop some Java Yin Chang, no Shineji, Jogan, Sanshila, Comba Shechewa, then be on board Tubo Yin, Yenane, so to be Sheraji, Dami be Dula, Shene, Gombala Megawa, Gayan, Dami be Dun, Gomini be, Settle and Jetimbelan, Conando Yende, Yana, Nature de Conajon she. Yana Shera number change Haton Sanshi gonna be Shero Sandu Nibati.
If you are a practitioner of these teachings, Buddhists, but have dull faculties and have previously been deeply habituated to the stabilizing meditation of serenity alone, you will not be interested in meditation which investigates the meaning of selflessness. with discerning wisdom, or even if you are interested due to an inability to understand the meaning of sentences, you will proceed to this life solely by the mundane path. But this is because you either sustain the stability of serenity alone, or you cultivate just insight, bringing the aspect of the calmness and process.
The Katu Kodea Shesana, number Sanjaba Imba Kansela, Rajiba Menjo Kanga Rajin Joba killing or Dame Musoto Tosana, and then Rajima Musoto go in Zane, and it Rotamo Moboshivichi, and then Dame Totu Mewa.
So even in the Buddhist, the practitioner of these teachings, or the Buddhist teachings, in other words, Dharma practitioners, those who are unable to gain the ascertainment of the lack of intrinsicness, the intrinsic or the inherent existence. It is to say that they have not actually, cut the root of secular existence. So with this regards, and the philosophical standpoint or the viewpoint, Madhyamaka, Swatantikas, and below are all included in that category.
That's somebody. Number Sanjaba on da maybe to could the Chijang, Demba Musun to Toba, Demba Musun to Tobi, Sawa Mami by Yena, settle and Jitembi lounge, Jitin then Debi Sami Pana. Ji mini pe jete be la kwanan do wa shi sha de shi sha wa yi da me ba la mi be la do gamba mini be sha ro so tere so ba de la gi zo jete go do
So then even if you are Buddhist of the sharp faculties, as comprehended the meaning of self-centeredness, if your root virtue, or if your roots of virtue, or perceptually knowing the truth have not matured in this life, you will still be unable to generate supermundane, undefiled noble path. In this case, it is said that you will proceed by the mundane path alone, but not that you are unable to cultivate insight, focus on selflessness. Even one possesses a sharp faculty, in order to attain wisdom realizing emptiness, one need to, have a sufficient or ample root of virtue that can support our realization of emptiness, without which it's not possible again. So this can, the Lama Tsongkhapas went through a great practices of accumulating merits before he actually gained the insight into the emptiness of the middle way. He was gone to a long retreat, long time retreat. So therefore, Lama Tsongkhapa followed the advice of Manjushri, and then he went to long retreats and engaged in the intensive practice of accumulating merits. And eventually he then, be able to attain the perfect view of emptiness of middle way.
那是吧的。到想象参加完了，叫我这个拖把羊是把他们我叫我前面对的，让人呢从的狼日了姐姐，叫我这个拖比对是，旁人没叫我的，才的人接点比狼就着我，狼就着我写下一，到没比对马多把的没弄，点点做嘞，对到随着想就把。something 他的记了跟电影的把他家庭写送把当天被天面的用给参加这来演讲，老板爸爸他们让给些把你没弄说。
Consider bodhisattvas who are bound to one more rebirth before Buddhahood, and who, during their next lifetime, their final rebirth in cyclic existence, will produce in their mind stem their four path, beginning with the path of preparations. While they are still bound to one more birth, they are unable to generate a noble path. So it is said that in this lifetime, they proceed by the mundane path, but not that they failed to know that meaning of selflessness. Vasubandhu's treasure of knowledge, Abhidharmakosha states, for our teacher and the Rhinoceros, like Pratika Buddhas, all paths from preparation to enlightenment are on the one last meditative civilizations. Prior to that are the aids to liberations, path of accumulations. And this accords with the way of achieving Buddhahood taught in the Hanyana treatise, but it is not the Mahayana interpretation of the noble master Asanga.
네. 먼저대 제가 지기토는 상징에서 이게 상추스마다 요리. 제가 지기토는 상징에서 제가 지대 수수조의 것을 마도 파바터서는 제가 사들래 말이. 인자는 제가 지기토는 상징이 상추스마지나 아니 마 신에 민주의 제가 내내 네 전환에 상징이 사이바도 제가 지도를 저동이 리지여레스. 대저한테 네 가서 센데라 지된랜데 별한테고 말이 그 제와시면 제와지도는 상징이 지레 제와지 랭고도 와 파파 제와랭이요 말로 수수주의들 제와랭 거로 와세들 된다 남의 말도 많은 말이에요.
So once one has already gained an Arya's path or the superior path, and there is no term of taking rebirth, there's no notion of taking rebirth, just as ordinary beings, rebirth followed forced by their karma and afflictions. But those of beings who are not attained Arya's path, then will take rebirth, forced by their karma and afflictions. And for them, even those who are on the path of accumulations and path of preparations, in order for them to gain either Hynana enlightenment or the Mahayana enlightenment, they need to proceed one more lifetime to gain to attain Arya's path, Arya's path to gain the state of enlightenment. It will not happen. The Arya's path will not happen within brief lifetime. In other words, in one lifetime, but it requires another lifetime.
디체 대지지 바바나다가 제도자 델라모가지지 다 대다나지 싫어버시라 넘버진지 랑간에 녀모 문주 뽕와 당 넘버 3 제바 다음에비 대간에 녀모 싸와네 뽕와 강이 장 토망 하시비 신내지 땡연진데 털고배 하시비 신내 때네 신나니기 내줘번 나오지 녀모 뽕비 식고라 대 마세 태파 태체바당 태메바 니기 년조바 강게 장 땡연지 되니 주것이 태체발라야 마다 바로되신비 년조바 탕제제장 신내 주고베 신내되는 년조바 탕제제랑 주비 신의 개체오 마지 신의 개체오죠 마지 용의 시비신의 장 타이거라 미방 상생네 이게라 소바 미네 조와소 미비 체바당 제비 턱가 시게 체바마도 땡엔지 제비 땡엔지 준 레로라 소바 나 방고바당 대다기 nie부 전바다 시전라 소바 땡고 수당 레 수당 데네 세네고바 토바 당 데레 신자지와 소 탕지 튜모와 인베 땡엔진 데네 시도 자체와 인노 데라고는 도데 군데레 테바 최종의 땡엔진 탕지지 샤라기 땡엔진 돈 두바 솜바 땡엔진라 캐반 두베 샤라 니가라 캐바 샤오 손도 어테바도로지
So therefore, non-Buddhists will eliminate manifest afflictions by meditating on the path, bearing the aspect of the calmness and closeness, as well as Buddhists who radically eliminate afflictions by meditating on the meaning of selflessness. Must first of all achieve the concentration of meditative serenity explained earlier. So the serenity explained above is needed by non-Buddhists and the Buddhist yogis as the basis of eliminating afflictions. Furthermore, yogis of the either the Mahayana or the Hinayana must also achieve these concentrations. And even among the Mahayana practitioners, all yogis of the both mantra and perfection vehicles must also have meditative serenity. So this serenity is extremely important as the basis for proceeding along the path of all yogis. Moreover, the serenity explained in the tantric text contains certain differences in method of generating concentration in object of meditation, such as focusing on the divine form and on hand implements of the chosen deity, or on syllables. But apart from those, they are entirely like in terms of need to eliminate the 5 faults of concentrations, including laziness and so on. In terms of the means of cultivating their antidotes, such as mindfulness and vigilance and so on, and in terms of the achievement of the 9 mental states and ensuing occurrence of pliancy, etc. So this concentration is a very widespread. With this in mind, the sutra unraveling the intended meaning state that all Mahayana and Hinayana concentration are included within the concentration of serenity inside. Thus, you who wish to be skilled in concentration should become skilled in serenity and insight.
가서 시르바 남바 있는데 남바라 티바체 좀 하다 제바게 아니 신의 등에 봐도 개천벌이 아니 주시대 아니 미바마라리만도 주시 지바 제자리 아니 레로기니 니부 저기 전에 따당 지바리 전바대당 지바리 세네고 이름 봐 지바리스 된다들.
So now, whether be it a practitioner of non-Buddhist or the Buddhist practitioner, or even Buddhist within the Buddhist practitioner, there are Hinayana practitioners or the Mahayana practitioners. The way of the procedure of engaging in the practice of meditative serenity is very the same. There's no difference at all by following the 9 mental states of practice and eliminating the 5 faults, such as laziness and so forth, are very, very similar.
So you gonna such a gonna drum Any thing in the kinji dishes at them by singing the Sinai thing in the Hatong thing in the thing in the township dishes.
Sorry, can get on the room say.
The thing in the Kangaki dishes sitting also a such a trumpicala, anything in the kinji dishes at them as a such a jidwa.
Oh, did you
get
get
thing in the Hatong thing in the township dubashi thing in the
the concentration of meditative serenity and insight, concentration on insight, is said to be the encapsulation of the concentration of all encapsulation of all concentrations. So, which is very important to understand and to practice.
단대 추세니 뒤서 동바 대기 천비 뒤송도 사비 교환의 쇼지도 등의 탈라되네. 랑게 선제의 지라네 상추 생기 심비도네. 돈이도 비실라 손제네 내려랑지라제. 아니 유리보 모도바네. 손주주 고반유도 타투에 만난다 모아지다.
So now let's do our dedication by taking our time of receiving these teachings and having such a wonderful opportunity to discuss on such profound practices. By means of such practice, whatever the virtue that we have accumulated, and also the virtue we have accumulated in the past, future, and present, we dedicate towards all other sentient beings to be able to engage in the practice and attain this unity of unity of serenity and insight, and may oneself and all other beings by such practice, by means of such practice, gain state of enlightenment as swift as possible.
Doge jini sobe gewa de non roa gyula kombe chebo yuzu lo san robo dimbi nibo rendu seje sho sa yin yu yu me do zhang re ro ni je ni de je mo san je jin do me de be wa 若根能到新老学不说，结瓦根多养老老么？这面去这边老老学经，撒当老觉应得少做，多觉强越过不年多说，也当古说着，面对那个那样大要。 天天人都别来送你，看到阳光刚些撒巴的，路面马里给动着我，南镇家业红包大酒鸡，干嘛身边塞着更多，江边养鸡在边结送的，天边人把更长老去。 年年周边见到你洗手，让给姐姐多别浪去。 修着在月照月讨给经，着月经明报随行。家月电报有人进就进，电报人情出给我瞧。悄悄娘把这边说的呢，你这前边一绕就把。 偏地爹爹是我写不出，世间家业没中成年。列住上求能觉人别将，唐德能觉一能别的。家业财宝人多将就急，南上周边跟前出行。给见世界门道面面根，财道更多家业好宝。 能当着我们就急，刚才的帮助了去学，期间着了怎么的原则，多的能就到处出现，这些将是就见，就是老民国在绕的经，能够成立手续结果，我上点别这边撒送。 若也没赛到年就见，高州若人过夜先告诉，平当的话忙年就业， 今日在我弟子教所，小别四天宝多天九节，江边法院之大清宝通，更多总部天阳天见，天道根觉即是道路是，给我的道同结少足。地松西边叫我当解决，我高老九度花光，大仙给月早晚的根，容不学习劳动我节。哎呀，推荐呢，推荐。Good night.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Ja.